All right, guys, we got a pretty important one here to talk about. This is not just important, but it's also a legal requirement for this for you to watch this training. Okay. Anyways, this is about harassment prevention. Okay, and this is for California non-supervisors. Okay, so if you're a supervisor, we're gonna have a different meeting. Okay. Anyways, these are guidelines for recognizing, preventing, and reporting harassment in the workplace, okay? You might ask yourself, what is workplace harassment, right? Well, here's what you should know, right? So harassment is any unwelcome conduct based on protected characteristics such as race, religion, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, pregnancy, disability, or age, okay? It can be done in verbal comments, okay? Jokes, physical actions, okay? Gestures, emails, texts, social media posts, okay? So basically, be kind to each other, okay? So, if it's unwelcome and you wouldn't want somebody to do it to you, don't do it to somebody else, okay? So like I said, it can be, written, spoken, implied, just don't do it, all right? So California law prohibits harassment in all workplaces, not just here, regardless company size, okay? Harassment doesn't have to be repeated, okay? It can be a single serious incident, all right? So here's some examples of harassment, right? So, maybe it's offensive jokes, slurs, name calling, any unwanted comments about somebody's body, appearance, personal life, any sort of characteristics like that? No, okay? Unwelcome sexual advances or requests for dates, okay? So here's the thing, right? I would truly prefer you guys not date coworkers, but the rule is you can ask once and that's it. If it's a no, that's it. You cannot ask again, okay? Anything more than that is uncomfortable. We don't want that to happen, okay? Once that happens, it's unwelcome, all right? So displaying offensive posters, cartoons, images, you don't want to put in the company, vehicle, a political sticker, right? These are things that might, offend people regardless of where you lay in that, you can't do it. So we can't mock people, right? We don't want to mock accents, religions, disability, identity. Mocking is one of those things that really gets under my skin. So harassment, it can come from coworkers, customers, vendors, or managers, okay? This isn't just my boss said blah, okay? This applies to everyone, okay? Both in person and online, emails, text, chat group, any of it, right? So you have rights here in California, all right? Here's some things you should know about them. You have the right to work in an environment free of harassment and discrimination, okay? That's really, really important. We do not support, working in an environment that happens. Again, if something like this happens on the workplace and it's a customer, let us know right away. That customer is done. And other action will be taken. So you're protected regardless of your job title, seniority, hours worked. You are part of this, okay? So California law SB 1343 requires all employees to receive harassment prevention training. That's what we're doing right now, okay? It's illegal for your employer to retaliate against you for reporting harassment, right? If you tell Jeannie and I, all of a sudden, there's something that's a retaliatory, that's illegal, right? We're never going to do that. It's not with our character anyways. So what to do if you experience or witness harassment, right? If it's safe, okay, tell the harasser that their behavior is unwelcome and it must stop, okay? Anything beyond that, now it's unwelcome, and we have a real issue to deal with. Okay. Um, so report the behavior to Jeannie or myself, you know, or anybody else we designate in the future, you know, to contact in this event. But you know, really, it's going to be Jeannie and myself. Okay, get us both in on that. We want redundancy here. Plus, Jeannie needs to know it if the customer calls. Okay. It's really important to report the behavior, right? But you also want to document the incident, all right? Take a notepad, write down everything, the dates, the times, the locations, witnesses, okay? You're going to be working in pairs, so you're going to have a witness with you all the time. I think it's really important, you know, if somebody grabs your butt, you know, then we need somebody there, right, as a witness. So that's really important, okay? So write it down, please. Dates, times, location, witnesses, all right? Those are really important. You can actually use the incident form that we have in the back of your clipboard, okay? So if the harasser is your supervisor, okay, go directly to Jeannie and myself, all right? That's it. Don't talk to your supervisor, you know, the person who harassed you about it, nothing. Come straight to us, and we'll make sure it's dealt with legally, okay? You may also file a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department. That is your right, 100%. So as a bystander, you do have some responsibilities here, right? You know, and especially in employee bars, okay? The reason why we're sending you out in pairs is so that you guys can not only have somebody to work with, it helps, you know, speed things up. Mostly it's to protect you. It's to keep you safe. It's to have somebody else there who can witness any inappropriate behavior. You know, they can see that you said something, so anything else that happened, you can report it, and it's unwelcome. All right, and so even if you're not the target, right, these are the people you work with every day. If you see them being harassed, speak up, right? You know, silence, it can be dangerous, right? We just can't do it, right? So you can't allow silence to happen, especially with harassment, okay? You know, not just that, guys, but supporting your coworkers out there creates a safe and respectful workplace. You would do the same thing they would expect to do for you, right? So, you know, creating that, I want you guys to go into these work situations feeling safe, which means there's going to be a level of trust between the two of you, okay? So again, silence can be dangerous, right? Don't allow it to continue. If you don't say anything, you're in a position where the harassment will continue. We don't want that, okay? We want to deal with it right away. So if you're not comfortable intervening, right, maybe you see something happening, you know, your coworker says, just don't worry about it. You still need to report it, right, to myself, okay? Retaliation of any kind is prohibited, okay? If it's just period, right? That's just a common thing, but especially, you know, when it comes to harassment, okay? Now we're talking about some really serious laws, okay? And we absolutely follow those, not just from a, you know, company perspective, but just in general in life, right? So what is retaliation? Okay, it means punishing someone for reporting harassment or helping with an investigation, right? So, you know, let's say you report somebody and they, they get less hours because of it, right? That's wrong. We don't do that, right? That's why we have Jeannie schedule stuff for you. Anyways, other examples might include, you know, assigning worse shifts or ostracization, right? Leaving people out, bullying them, or just plain firing somebody for speaking up. I've heard things like that happen. Certainly never here, but you know, it can be a really awful thing. You know, other employers seem to think that is okay. We don't. Retaliation is not just something we don't do, but it is against the law and should be reported immediately, right? So you are protected under the California law if you file a complaint in good faith, right? So you just be honest and you're good. So, you know, creating a respectful workplace is really important, and it's going to come down more than just policies for us. It's going to come down to you and how you treat your coworkers, okay? So, and not just that, but customers too, and managers, right? You just, you want to discuss things with them with professionalism. You could talk about anything, just as long as you talk professionally, okay? And respectfully, right? Just know that the other person there talking to you is a person too, and you should really put each other in each other's shoes, okay? So think before you speak or act, right? This isn't, this isn't something that you need to just come right out and say. You should really be processing it up here and then having it come out. Diversity is strength, guys. So we value kindness, inclusion, and professionalism. Those three things, right? That is above all else. A safe workplace benefits everyone, okay? And that's really important. We want everybody on the team to be happy, respected, and not harassed, okay? Keep up the great work out there, guys.